This is a quick video to help you with this assignment. Save the file as the assignment number for the class. And then, taking a look at the dimensions, we have a box that's 5 by 2. So we'll start with that. In the ribbon, if you're in 2D at the top, you can change this from drafting and annotation to the workspace 3D modeling. You'll see that the ribbon changes completely, giving you different commands. And then you'll want to use as a choice the 3D cube. And here at the top left, the 3D cube is here. You can click on the bottom right corner of this top box. When it turns blue there, light blue, you click on it and then Z is up and you're actually looking in the southeast isometric view. Another way of getting to those views is to go to the View tab at the top and then use this drop down to go to southeast isometric. That does the same thing if you prefer to use here the commands in the panel in the ribbon. Okay. So now we have a box that is 5 by 2. We can start the box command here at the top left. Pick a point, right click, and pick length. And then pull your mouse towards here the bottom right side until you see that tracking vector, those dashed lines that extend. You can type in 5 and enter for the box length. And then use the wheel of your mouse to zoom back here away from the drawing so that you can see the rectangle. Pull your mouse here in this direction for the width. We're going to type in 2 and enter. And then the height of this drawing is 2.5. So we'll go ahead and pull our mouse up and type in 2.5 and enter. Now that we have this box, it's your choice to work with a white background or a black background. I like to work with a white background and then change here the view from 2D wireframe to conceptual. And when you do that, you have here this black background. So what we can do is we can, as a choice, you can right click to change the background, right click and pick options, or just type options at the command line and press enter. And then in the display tab, click colors and change here the 3D parallel projection view to white. Pick apply and close and then pick OK. And now I have a white background in 3D with a solid model. Your choice if you want to keep it as a black background with a white model. Okay, now according to here this worksheet, we do have a couple of circles that could be placed on this face. And it looks like here we're coming out 1 on each side. So what we can do is we can establish the midpoint of this line, making sure that you have the midpoint object snap. You can rest your pointer on the 6th icon down here at the bottom, object snap, and right click. By doing that, you can verify that you do have a blue box around midpoint and it's on. I'll go ahead and use my escape key to get this menu out of here. And make sure that that 6th icon is actually blue so that you kept it on there at the bottom left. Also, the other icon that we're going to be working with is called Allow Disallow Dynamic UCS. It looks like a little L shape with a yellow lightning bolt, and what that does is it allows us to draw on this face of the cube. So I know that I have a circle, and based on our project we have radius. So in the draw panel, we'll go to circle center radius. And then the most important thing here is to make sure that this front face is highlighted first before you go to the midpoint and click. And notice what that does is it gives you that dynamic UCS, meaning that it's rotating the UCS icon right onto your cube. And now one of the radiuses is 1, or radii. We'll go ahead and type in 1 and enter. Okay, so the same thing, we'll go to circle center radius and highlight the front face first, then go to the midpoint and click. The radius for this one is 1.5, so I'll type in 1.5 and enter. Okay, I can go back to the 2D wireframe view for now. So let's change this here to 2D wireframe. And what you could do is you could actually just draw these two circles on the back side too. But to get a little more experience with the copy command, I'll use the copy command to copy these back here to the back side. So in the modify panel on the top row there, we can pick copy and select these two circles and then enter them. And then we need to pick a base point, which is where we want to pick these two circles up at. And that would be that original midpoint. So I'll click here and you see how it kind of picks them up onto the end of your pointer. And now you can go to the back side here, midpoint, and click. And then here you can right click and pick enter to get back to the command and out of that copy command that continues to copy if you need to. Okay. So now I'll go back to the conceptual view. And with my favorite tool in the modeling panel, I'll pick press pull. It's the smaller of the two blue boxes there. If you rest your pointer between these two arcs so that just the bottom part of the circle is highlighted, you can click inside that space and AutoCAD will pick up the space itself that's closed. You can pull your mouse out, type in 1 and enter. Now if I hold my shift key down and press the wheel of my mouse, I can orbit over to the other side and do the same thing. Go inside the shape and then click, pull your mouse out, type in 1 and enter. Now what happens if you don't have a mouse that has a wheel on it? Well, there are different ways that you can orbit. You can pick up this full navigation wheel, which is over here, and the navigation wheel has the orbit, zoom, pan, all of those things. If you hold your left mouse button down on orbit, you can then orbit around kind of this pivot point. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and close out of that full navigation wheel that you got from this navigation bar on the right hand side. Okay. Now I need to take out this center piece with press pull. You can rest your pointer right here at this half circle shape, click, and then instead of pulling your mouse out, to create a shape, you're going to pull your mouse back and click so that you can cut that out. Press pull will cut out shapes and solid shapes that it intersects, or create one if it doesn't intersect it. So now I'm ready. I can go to the erase command and erase these extra circles that I used. I can even hold my shift key down and press the wheel of my mouse and move my mouse so that I can get to these two and then enter. Okay. I'm going to orbit over to kind of the original view. And now I have this circle that's on this face. I know based on our handout, it's 1 inch up and it's 1 over from this 2. So I can actually draw a little line that goes from the midpoint here up 1 and use the end of that line to draw the circle. So I'll start the line command And then this is the important part, is that you have to rest your pointer on this face until it's highlighted. Go down to the midpoint and click. Pull your mouse straight up, type in 1 and enter. And then enter again. And you've got your line to use now to draw the circle. Now, because this is a solid shape, you might not be able to get to that line, so I'll go back to 2D wireframe. So you can actually create the whole thing in 2D wireframe, but notice that you get a lot of extra lines that make up the curve or the arcs. Okay, so now I'm on this face. I can take a look at the diameter. So this circle with a line through it represents diameter. I'll go up to here, circle center diameter. Make this face the active face. You can see that the outside is highlighted. Go to the end of this line and click. And then type in 0.75 for the diameter and enter. I can now get rid of this little line by selecting it and picking the erase icon. Okay. So I'll go back to conceptual view. You don't have to flip back and forth all the time, but I'd like to create it in the conceptual view so that I can see that right now there's no hole that goes back as we need in the assignment here. It doesn't say in the assignment how far back to go, but we're just going to go ahead and go all the way back here. So we'll use press pull. You can click on press pull. Go inside this circle and click, and then pull your mouse all the way back and click. And you'll see that it actually cut that hole out by using press pull on a solid shape. Okay, so I finished the entire assignment and then realized that I forgot to put these fillets in on both sides underneath the curve. So I'm going to go ahead and put these fillets in with a radius of 20 or 0.25. And then for the rest of the video, they won't be in, but they will be in your assignment when you hand it in. So here I'm going to go up to the Modify panel and find Fillet here. And then click on that edge between the curved piece and the box. And when you click on it, you'll be able to see that just that edge is selected. Then if you read your command line, it asks you to enter the fillet radius. I'll type in 0.25. and enter. But now it's asking me to select the edge again. So because I don't have additional edges, I'm just going to go ahead and press enter. And now we have that fillet. Use your shift key to hold the wheel of your mouse and orbit to the other side so that we can go through the same process. I'll go ahead and start the fillet command. Select here that edge between the box and the curve. You don't have to type in 0.25 because it's already in that brackets. You can go ahead and press enter and then enter again, and you have the fillet. So I'll go back to this view and then continue with the video, keeping in mind I added the fillets after I created the video. Now another thing that you could do is you could here draw a cylinder inside the box, and then as we talked about in class, use the solid editing tools like subtract to subtract the cylinder from the box. You would select the box and then enter and select the cylinder and enter, and just like this picture here, it actually subtracts out one solid from another solid. Okay. Now there's our 3D shape, but we're starting to use layout space to set up our drawing. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a layer called Viewport so that when we draw those viewports, they won't plot. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we get to that. We did talk about this in class a little bit. So let's go to Layers and to Layer Property, and pick the new layer icon and type in Viewport And for that viewport layer, well, first I'm going to go ahead and press enter twice so that I can create another layer called text. I'll have a layer called viewport and one called text. So for the viewport layer, highlight that and click on the small printer. You may have to make your dialog box longer or use the scroll bar here to get over to the right hand side. With that printer selected, you'll see a little red circle with a line through it. That means that that layer will not plot, which is ideal for any reference lines or notes to yourself in a project that you want to use, but you don't ever want to print them. Okay, so we're going to make that viewport layer current. By making that viewport layer current, you can highlight it and pick the green check mark or double click here to the left of viewport. I'll be able to here close out of the layer property and then click on layout 1. By clicking on layout 1, AutoCAD will automatically create here this hole. This is what it says. It's kind of a hole in the paper that brings you to the model space. Now in class we took a look at what would happen if you erase this. You don't have to erase it here, but I just want to show you that if I did erase this box, my object would disappear because I'm on the paper. I'm up above the model. If I go back to the model tab at the bottom left side, there's my model. I'm on the model tab at the bottom left corner. I'll go back to layout 1 and there's nothing there. So one other way of creating a viewport is to go to the layout tab in AutoCAD 12 through probably 2000. You would go to the view tab and find this viewports panel. But here in the layout tab for 2013, you can use here rectangle for the layout. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a point, pull my mouse over and pick a point, and I've got the box back again. So either way, whether you let AutoCAD create it because you're only doing one, just make sure that that viewport is on the viewport layer. See, I can verify it by selecting it and then using this drop down layer to see that it is on the viewport layer. And that way it won't print. You don't want that box to print. Sometimes maybe you would like it to print on a special occasion. Now, just to show you how layouts work, again, double click inside the viewport. Use your zoom commands to zoom where you want this detail, if you want it to be bigger or smaller, and then double click outside of the viewport to go back into the paper space that's above. You could click once on this viewport and then click inside these blue boxes, these grips, to kind of crop your opening if you had other things that were kind of in the way back there in the model space. But try to avoid double clicking on it. If you double click by accident on your viewport, what you'll get is this big, open view that gives you the maximum viewport to work within. In order to get it back, you can either do an undo or you can go down here to the bottom right corner and find this icon that looks like a red dashed icon box. You can click on that to kind of bring it back so that it's not maximized. Okay, now I want to make sure that I change my layer because if I start putting text on a viewport layer, it won't print. So I'm going to go ahead and make the text layer current by dropping this layer list down and clicking on text. Now I can go to the annotate tab, click on multi-line text, and place my text just like we have since the beginning of the class. Here, I'm going to put my cap locks on, and whatever the assignment is for this detail for your class, you can go ahead and type in the assignment and your name, and then highlight the text, the assignment name, and then pick U for underline up in the ribbon, and then click inside space someplace. You can here select that text and hold your left mouse button down and drag and drop it into place. Now it looks to me like this text is not the standard text. It should be an Arial text. So if your text looks a little bit different, don't worry about it. You can always change it if you want to go into the text style and change it, or you can actually just double click on it, highlight the whole thing, and then change it from the TXT default text to something else as a choice. There's a lot of different choices here. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this Arial, and then pick out in space. Good. Okay, now here's the real test. If you go ahead and pick on the printer icon and change your printer to whatever printer that you're using, change your, open up this side of the dialog box by clicking on the circle here with the less than or greater than symbol. Change this pen assignments to monochrome. And then for layout space, you don't have to change anything else because it's already set up for the paper. The paper is actually your print preview. There it is, layout. The center of the plot is grayed out. You're printing 1-to-1, so you can just pick apply to layout, and then you can click on preview to preview it. When you preview it, you should not see a box. If you see a box, then you know that viewport is not set up properly. You'll need to go back to your layers and click on that little printer so that it's a no plot layer. Okay, it's okay if you have this product or produced by an Autodesk educational product, because if you did download your AutoCAD for free off the Autodesk website, right now they're offering it for 3 years, and I've talked about that in class too. You just register and then set it up. You can actually get the full AutoCAD. The only difference is that when you print, you're going to have this watermark here for printing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this print, but in class you're going to print this out. So save your file, make sure that it's saved with whatever the assignment is. Check your assignment sheets that I've been working with you in class.